cómo le hicieron eso, güey?
Canelo Alvarez, who has made it perfectly clear his goal in 2021 is to unify all four super middleweight belts.
Muy pocas personas han logrado ser campeones unificados.
Ryan Garcia says no one is going to beat Canelo.
No other fighter at 168 has the resume that Canelo has.
To be a great, you've got to be fearless. To fight a great, you have to be fearless.
I don't give a about Canelo Alvarez. Not too. This will be the biggest upset in boxing.
This fight is a mega fight.
It's history collecting all the belts. You get in this sport to win the belts.
It's fantastic for the sport.
Todos los títulos en 168 libras y obviamente en mexicano nunca ha habido ninguno.
These two fighters are fearless.
This is more than we do what I want to do it.
This is the toughest fight left for Canelo Alvarez.
As us gypsies say, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over. We will not be all his own way.
This is going to be a massive fight.
This is a legacy fight.
Okay, fight fans, the wait is over. The fight of the year is hours away. No more trolling, no more talking, no more weigh-ins, no more face-off. It's time for all the smoke. That's it. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. But can Billy Joe Saunders be the one to dethrone the pound-for-pound king, Canelo Alvarez? It's the Zone Boxing Show, Canelo Saunders Special, presented by BetMGM. Run it. This is the Zone Boxing Show, Canelo vs. Saunders Special, presented by BetMGM, here from the home of the Cowboys in Arlington, Texas. Barack, I'm finally out of the house with the Zone Boxing Show outside. I'm tired of my damn living room.
I mean, you was home. I thought you was under house arrest or something like that. I don't know. You was home so long. You know, everybody else came outside a long time ago. You just coming out now.
Always dry snitching. That's you. I mean, you're happy. You're always acting too cool, but you're happy to be here in Texas.
I'm happy because we're gonna have 70,000 people. Now, if you talk about normalcy, there's nothing more normal than that for Canelo fights.
It feels like a typical fight week in Vegas or in London. We're here in Texas, though, man. It's time for the opening bell. All right, Barack, the talk of the town is the antics. Billy Joe's antics. Is it getting under Canelo's skin? Is it going to work? Is it going to affect Canelo's game plan? I mean, I don't know yet.
My man, this is the same guy who, we just finding this out. Brother was kidnapped before he fought Rocky Fielding. Oscar didn't even know. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
He was hanging out with us before, joking around like everything was cool. He performed super well, stopped him in the third round, and no one knew. Like, he's unbothered. So you think these antics, it might make him want to hit him a little harder.
No, and he was the one negotiating the release of his brother.
Absolutely.
Probably in the dressing room.
For days.
Wow.
For days. I think he was walking to the ring, like saying, okay, the money's wired. No, but seriously, like, think about it. He even said, like, yes, this makes it a little bit.
In the dressing room.
For days.
Wow.
For days. I think he was walking to the ring, like saying, okay, the money's wired. No, but seriously, like, think about it. He even said, like, yes, this makes it a little bit more personal, and I want to hurt him more, but I still want to go in there smart.
And believe it or not, one of the comments that bothered him the most is when he allegedly said that his breath stunk during the face-off. He said it to a reporter. I mean, I don't know who he's referring to. All I know is it just added a little bit more spice to the whole thing because Canelo wants to hurt him. He wants to stop him. And I haven't heard him say that about a fight in a long time.
That's pretty funny. I mean, you can talk about my mother, but don't say my breath stank. You understand? That's when you really want to fight.
I think the last time he was that upset was probably against Triple G. Speaking of Triple G, I mean, do you think that Billy Joe Saunders is Canelo's biggest test since Triple G?
I would say on paper, his biggest test was supposed to be Kovalev. 175 pounds, just came off of a win, with a jab, stopped Yardy out there from the UK. So it's like, maybe because, this is why. Because we always revert back to 7 years ago, Lara. So Lara gave him trouble, but who's the same fighter 7 years later? Either you've gotten better or you decline. And Lara had a 4-inch reach advantage. That's a totally different fighter.
I would say that this is probably his biggest test since Triple G, only because Triple G was considered the boogeyman at that time. He fought a competitive fight against the first time. Obviously, Canelo came back and made a big statement in the second fight. And you didn't see him in that type of fight. You haven't seen him in that type of fight since then. Everything's been dominant. He knocked Kovalev out. He was able to beat Jacobs fairly easy in a lot of people's eyes. Right? We all saw what he did to Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, and obviously Yogi. So I would say that this is his toughest test, not only because of the caliber of fighter, but the style. The style.
I would say only on paper, because Callum Smith was one of his toughest fights on paper. That's the thing. And then when you got a guy who's 6'2", fighting a guy who's 5'8", and you got a way longer reach, you should be able to keep him away easily, but he wasn't. So Billy Joe has speed. He has speed, he has fast feet and fast hands, but no real reach advantage.
You mentioned Lara. Outside of Lara, Austin Trout, after coming off a big win against Cotto, Canelo was able to beat him, right? And people feel like they gave him trouble. Those fights went the distance, 12 rounds. Now, will this fight go 12 rounds? Because a lot of people feel, for some reason, that Canelo is going to be able to stop Billy Joe Saunders.
That's a good question. I say it depends on which Billy Joe we get. Now, the Billy Joe that just fought Casero, or whatever his name is, and he didn't like his performance, even though he stopped him in the 11th round. Yeah, it was good, but he knew he didn't perform that well. That Billy Joe got tired. But that was 168-pound Billy Joe. Maybe 168 is not really a good weight for him. I don't know. But if it's that Billy Joe that fought David Lemieux, woo, this is going 12 rounds. Because he can stay away, he can move, he's going to stick, he's going to go down low, he's going to go up top, he's going to be turning him, So that Billy Joe could probably last 12 rounds. But I was speaking to Frank Sanchez, and Frank Sanchez says that when he sparred Canelo, I asked him, I said, hey, how does he punch? He said he punches like a heavyweight. So if he get hit, if Billy Joe get hit, I don't know.
I guess we'll see, man. The fight is hours away. Let's go to the Hennessy 1-2 punch. The anticipation is building up.
He punches like a heavyweight.
Man, the fight is hours away. Barack, the fight jitters are here. I mean, the best way to take the edge off is with a great drink. Settle in for fight night with your Hennessy 1-2 punch cocktail. All you need is Hennessy VSOP privilege, topped with tonic water, a lime wedge to enjoy your fight night. 21 and older, please drink responsibly.
Earlier this week, we caught up with the pound-for-pound king, Canelo Alvarez. He responded to Billy Joe and his camp in their antics regarding the ring situation.
Sí, no tenemos ningún problema. La verdad es que a mí yo no tengo ningún problema con eso.
Is he telling the truth, though, that the ring was supposed to be 24 feet and not 20? Is that even the case?
Que yo sepa, yo no he visto el contrato que le dieron a él realmente. La verdad es que su promotor es el que debe saber eso, ¿no? Es el que le deben de preguntar al promotor. Yo no he visto el contrato que le dieron a él o el contrato que hizo él con su promotor, realmente no lo sé. Pero lo que sí te puedo decir, él es que estoy seguro que él nunca ha peleado en un ring de 24 pies. Nunca lo ha hecho. Eso sí te lo aseguro. Ahora lo quiere, pero nunca lo ha hecho. Entonces, la verdad es que a mí esta situación no me quita el sueño, ¿no? Puede ser si quiere de 30, ¿no? Si quiere le dejo todo el campo de los Cowboys para que pueda estar ahí a gusto.
So, Canelo, have you seen Tyson Fury going on social media saying that Billy Joe is going to give you a boxing lesson?
Absolutely 100% confident we're going to smash it. 100%.
Like, is he going to knock out?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's going to give him a boxing lesson and smash it. Stop him around about round 11 or 12. Really confident, honestly. Never been as confident about anything in my life. Billy's going to hit him with the jab. Meet him straight with the jab, right in the mouth. You know, every time. Ping, ping, ping. You're going to see something really special.
Sí, lo he visto, la verdad, pero veremos el sábado. Veremos el sábado. Lo que sí te puedo decir es que Saunders está ahora en diferente nivel peleando. Eso es lo único que te puedo decir. El sábado lo va a sentir.
You're a professional, right? I never see you get upset too often. Maybe the one time with Jacobs on Triple G a little bit, but does this make you more upset and want to hurt Billy Joe even more? Like you take it a little personal, or like you want to hurt him even more because of
Sí, la verdad que lo tomo tranquilo, la verdad, pero sí me motiva a querer golpearlo un poco más, pero con la misma mentalidad, ¿no? Hacerlo como se tiene que hacer sin perder la cabeza, pero sí me motiva a quererlo golpear más.
You know, some guys, you know, when it comes to getting under their skin, it works well for them, and other guys, it doesn't. They get off their game plan. I want to welcome in former junior welterweight and super middleweight champions, Chris Algieri and Carl Froch. Carl, in your career, you've always been outspoken, never had a problem with expressing yourself, promoting a fight. But has there ever been a situation where a fighter really got under your skin where it affected you in a fight, or does that actually motivate you?
Now listen, most definitely, it's always important to be respectful, but it's important to be honest to yourself. And if you think you can beat someone, tell them you think you can beat them. Show confidence. But George Groves, in my first fight with him in Manchester, he's so disrespectful and I'm not.
Never been as confident about anything in my life. Billy's going to hit him with the jab. Meet him straight with the jab, right in the mouth. Get him. Every time. Ping, ping, ping. You're going to see something really special.
Sí, lo he visto, la verdad, pero veremos el sábado. Veremos el sábado. Lo que sí te puedo decir es que Saunders está ahora en diferente nivel peleando. Eso es lo único que te puedo decir. El sábado lo va a sentir.
You're a professional, right? I never see you get upset too often. Maybe the one time with Jacobs on Triple G a little bit, but does this make you more upset and want to hurt Billy Joe even more? Like you take it a little personal, like do you want to hurt him even more because of
Sí,
all
la
this?
verdad Lo tomo tranquilo, la verdad, pero sí me motiva a querer golpearlo un poco más, pero con la misma mentalidad, ¿no? Hacerlo como se tiene que hacer sin perder la cabeza, pero sí me motiva a quererlo golpear más.
You know, some guys, you know, when it comes to getting under their skin, it works well for them, and other guys, it doesn't. They get off their game plan. I want to welcome in former junior welterweight and super middleweight champions, Chris Algieri and Carl Froch. Carl, in your career, you've always been outspoken. You never had a problem with expressing yourself, promoting a fight. But has there ever been a situation where a fighter really got under your skin where it affected you in a fight, or does that actually motivate you?
Now listen, most definitely, it's always important to be respectful, but it's important to be honest to yourself. And if you think you can beat someone, tell them you think you can beat them. Show confidence. But George Groves, in my first fight with him in Manchester, he's so disrespectful and obnoxious, and he really got under my skin. To the point where I wanted to kill this guy, you know, metaphorically, obviously. But I was in there just trying to knock him out. And the problem with that is when you're boxing, as you know yourself, you start loading up the punches. And you pull the shot back and you start to pull a face, and they see it coming. So yeah, when you wind up, it can be a real negative, real problem.
Absolutely, it definitely messes with your technique and your defense. You know, because you just want to go all out. But nobody gets under people's skin like you. You had Andre Ward upset.
Oh really? You said that to me earlier. I wasn't too sure about that. I did try and upset him a little bit, but that didn't work for me. That wasn't my style. It worked against me, to be
You
honest.
think Billy Joe's getting under Canelo's skin to where
I think he is, yeah, because I've never seen Canelo really react. There's been some footage of him in the hotel lobby, and he's been saying some choice words back to the fans. And I just think, just keep it cool, just relax. I mean, he probably is cool and he probably is relaxed, but he's not going to let somebody talk down to him because he's a proud man. So, but with his reactions, I do take from it, he is getting a little bit wound up.
Yeah, he is. Chris, do you think this modern day Canelo loses? Like, is he beatable? And if so, like how?
Every man's beatable. But I do believe that
Floyd, I'm sorry.
even the great Floyd was and is beatable, but you know, it never happened obviously. But with
Canelo
Canelo,
came close, right?
yeah. I mean, he was in tough fights. He was in tough fights. But you know, Canelo at this point, I really do believe he's streaking, and he is peaking as in terms of his maturity, not only his physical maturity, but his style and his mindset. You know, we're talking about a lot of the mindset leading into this fight. Is he getting under his skin? Possibly, but I don't think it's going to negatively affect his performance on fight night.
You know, Barack, a lot of people are talking about how skilled Billy Joe is and how he's going to give Canelo problems, but people are picking Canelo to win. But what is the X factor? Why is that?
I would have to say his defense is kind of underrated. And I'm not talking about his defense from the waist. I'm talking about coming forward. His defense is really that good. Think about it. Everybody says, all right, a boxer can make him look bad like Lara did. Lara had a way more reach advantage. Not like Billy Joe, half inch. You know, he had like 4 inches on him. Also, you think about Kovalev, he's way taller. He threw 577 jabs. He landed 63, 10%. So a lot of those were being blocked, and that's the part that's underrated. Yeah, he's coming forward, but he's not the regular Mexican aggressiveness coming forward. He's slipping, he's parrying, and he's going to make you pay.
Canelo also does a great job of firing off and countering with combinations, which a lot of fighters don't. They're kind of with one hard shot, one quick shot. Canelo throws combinations and makes guys hesitant to be aggressive. So he has a great ability to make guys handcuffed from throwing their offense.
Callum Smith.
Yes, exactly.
People in the UK, do they really believe that Billy Joe has a shot against Canelo?
Do people believe that? Well, his fans obviously do. And then the people that really want to get behind British boxing and the patriotic, they'll kind of make a reason and think of a chance or possibility or a style or a game plan that will beat Canelo. But you know, when you break it down, like you talked about Canelo's head movement and his defence on his front foot, and you know the height and range and reach. Callum Smith's a top fighter, for example. And if I'd put Billy Joe Saunders in with Callum Smith at super middleweight, I'm going to say to myself, so I've done a lot of sparring around with Callum Smith. Quick on the counter punch. He punches solid enough. He's not a knockout man, but he punches solid enough. But he's 6'2". I'm 6'4". I've got height. I met Canelo yesterday, shook his hand, and I was sizing him up. I was thinking, I'd be all right in there with this guy. But actually, in reality, Canelo Smith gave me hard sparring. It was good spar, you know. It held me only now, obviously, but I was a seasoned professional when he was coming through. I couldn't believe how easily that Canelo coped with Callum Smith with that height and reach. Because height and reach is a massive advantage in boxing. If you're taller and longer than somebody, you can hit them and they can't hit you. But Canelo Alvarez comes forward, he doesn't come in straight lines, his head's moving, and he counter punches it in combinations, as you've said.
Is that the fight that sold it for you, the Callum Smith fight, like
feeling that Canelo was extra special?
I think I knew Canelo was a top fighter anyway, and a real special talent. But when I saw Callum Smith in with him, with that height and reach, and he wasn't able to use that to his advantage, I just thought to myself, Canelo is doing something very special here. He knows what he's up to. He's a top fighter, very, very special talent.
I think the only way that Billy Joe can probably beat Canelo if Canelo maybe gasses out in the middle, from chasing, Billy Joe. If Billy Joe sticks to the jab and moves around, and Canelo maybe gasses out and can't get to him, doesn't cut the ring off. But at this point in his career, I haven't seen Canelo gas out in a long time. Conditioning is perfect. Never no issues with making weight. He's learning how to cut the ring off, and to your point, I've seen a lot of that in the Callum Smith fight. And the body attack, and to Barack's point earlier, the head movement, I mean, simple mathematics, you just can't see it happening, but this is boxing. I've seen stranger things happen.
The one thing I will say about Callum Smith is I don't think he believes in himself. And if you don't believe you can do something when you get into that ring, with anything in life, but especially boxing, there's only one fight I didn't believe in myself. I mean, I was in against Andre Ward, and I was thinking to myself, this kid's going to be tough to beat. But if you get in the ring with that mindset where you can't win, then you're already beat in the head. And I think Callum Smith was like that. So I think that fight flattered Canelo, in my opinion, a little bit more than what I thought. He doesn't belong at light heavyweight. I think he belongs at super middleweight. And Billy Joe Saunders, really, for me, is a middleweight. He's not a big puncher.
Well, Canelo's like a junior middleweight, as small as he is.
He's shorter than I am.
Yeah.
And I think the key word that you said is chase. And for him, if he starts chasing Billy Joe, which I actually watched the Arizona Lara fight this morning, and watching him try to walk down and chase Lara and walking into 1-2s. And that is Billy Joe's best punch. His 1-2 is very nice. He hides his left hand with his jab very, very well. If he gets Canelo into the position where he's chasing him, and he's able to use that lateral movement, stop on a dime, fire, and cut an angle, he can give Canelo a lot of problems.
Possibly, but are you the same fighter you were 7 years ago?
No. And that was when I was watching that fight, I was like, this is not the same Canelo.
Exactly. And Canelo started at 140 pounds.
Right. If he starts chasing Billy Joe, which I actually watched the Arizona Lara fight this morning, and watching him try to walk down and chase Lara and walking into 1-2s. And that is Billy Joe's best punch. His 1-2 is very nice. He hides his left hand with his jab very, very well.